everyone, it's Julia. I have something a little bit different for you today. I wanted to share with you how I turn a photo into a stitched piece of art. I recently received, or actually for Christmas, I received an iPad, and this is not an iPad Pro, it's just the Generation 7. It's a 10 by 2, and I am using the app called GoodNotes, which is an app from Apple, and I believe that app is a one-time purchase, and it was less than $10. I'm not exactly certain how much it was, but I know it was less than $10. And I use this app for a lot of my planning, my list making, just all sorts of things. So I mean, it's something that I have been using. But I've discovered how to turn a sketch, or to turn a photo into a sketch, and I wanted to share that with you. I'm going to open the app, and it comes to a blank page, and you can, this is just a solid white blank page, and there's several different templates. If you want a grid, you can use a grid. I am using an Apple Pencil, but there are other stylists that you can use as well. You just want to do your own experimenting and maybe doing your own research on that. But there's 3 different types of pens that you can use. There's a fountain pen, a ball pen, and a brush pen. I'm using the ball pen, and I'm going to use you check any color you want as well, but I am using a gray color for this. And then you can actually go to your photo roll and write on your camera roll and pick whatever photo you want. And I'm going to go to the photo here. This is a photo that I had taken when we were in Florida last year, and it's just a picture of, it was the sweetest picture. It was of this dad, and he is, his little girl is in a sled, and he's just pulling this little girl in a sled. It was early in the morning, and he has his coffee in his hand, and she is just having a blast back there. She's just playing toys on this sled as they're zooming across the beach. And I just wanted to capture this moment because it was just wonderful. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pen in a gray color, and I'm going to just outline the pieces that I want to incorporate in my stitched piece. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do that. And you can watch, you can zoom in just by spreading it, and so you can get some more of the detail. And so I'm going to just get started on that. Now, if you decide that you don't like something, there's an eraser. You can just push the eraser and you can just erase what you've done and start over. Now, you can do as much editing on this as you want. You can put these, there's a couple people in the ocean here. You can decide if you want to put those in or not. And so I'm just going to go ahead, like I said, and I'm just going to do some tracing here. I'm zooming in on this little girl now, and you can see what I mean by she's just having a party back there playing. And I love the hat on her and also on the dad, and so I want to make sure to get some of the hat on there. I'm going to be using that as an applique. For the sky and the water, I do want to make sure that the horizon is straight. So I'm just going to draw that in as best I can here. And I'm just going to draw a few of the little waves in here. The water is crashing right here, and so I'm just going to do some squiggly lines. I'm going to draw in some of the little marks on the sand. And then also I'm just going to get a little bit of these people here too that are in the water. So now to get rid of the photo, you go up to the lasso tool and you draw a circle right on the photo. And then you tap inside the circle and it's going to ask if you want to resize, if you want to convert, cut. We want to delete. And so the photo went away and you're left with the pattern. If you look on here and you said, oh, you know what, I forgot a part of this, you can go up here and do the redo button and your photo's going to come back. And you can make any changes if you need to. And now, once you have your pattern, you can go up here and you can share this to your printer and you can print this off. Now I'm going to be printing this off in two different ways. I'm going to be ironing a freezer paper on the back of a muslin and running that through so that the muslin is printed on. And then I'm also going to be using another freezer paper on just regular copy paper, and that I want the design on the freezer paper. And the reasoning for that is I want to be able to cut out some of these pieces right on and use the freezer paper for my pattern. Lisa Capen did a wonderful video on printing on Fabirc, and I am going to be linking that down below for you so you can go ahead and take a look at how she did hers. She has a laser printer and I do not. I'm using an inkjet printer for mine. And so you can check out her video. It's wonderful, and it goes step by step on how to put your freezer paper on the back of a piece of muslin. So watch that, and I'm going to print these off. I have a couple pieces of my freezer paper cut out at 8.5 by 11, which is a standard US copy paper size. And just going to be ironing this so the wax side is down and ironing this onto my natural colored muslin. And just cutting this out. I'm ironing it one more time. I really want those edges to be adhered so it goes through my printer without causing problems. And then also ironing this freezer paper on the back side of just a regular copy paper. So I'm going to be running both copies through my printer. And this is what it looks like. You can see it's a light gray because I used that light gray color, but I didn't want a dark color on my muslin. So you can see it there, and then also on the freezer paper as well. Now this is a mixed media piece. I'm going to be painting. I'm going to be using my Fabirc markers. I'm using my Inktense. I have Fabirc medium that I'm going to be activating my Inktense blocks with. Now you can use what you have. If you have acrylic paints, those would work as just wonderful too. I'm going to be adding fiber to this and just all sorts of things. Not going to fill in everything. I just want a suggestion of blue in the ocean. Switching to a little bit darker blue, and again this is also an Inktense block. And using that same blue in a more of an intense look for his shadow. And those shadows were right on that photo, so I could see where to put the shadows. Now using my Fabirc marker from Arteza and filling in this little girl's shirt here. I started to fill in some of the hat, but then I did change my mind and decided to use an applique for the hat instead. I'm just showing here the color that I'm using for the skin tone, and just filling in the skin tone. You can see what I did, and now it's on for the appliques. I'm just removing this freezer paper to the from the back side of that copy paper. If you have a hard time removing that the freezer paper, you can take your iron and reheat it, and that does really help in removing that. These are really piddly little pieces, but there's only 4 of them. I'm using two of the hats and the shorts and then the t-shirt. And I'm going to be ironing these now on the front side of my fabrics. This is the hat. He had a straw hat on, so I thought this tan colored fabric works well. And then I want his shorts to be black. And so I'm just finding a piece of black in this print. Little itty bitty pieces, but I'm turning them up so that the wrong side is up, and I'm spraying it with a temporary adhesive. Removing that freezer paper, and then the adhesive will just stick right onto this, so I can get it into place until I sew it down. And just have one more to put on, and that's her little hat. I wanted to add some fiber, and I had this white slubby piece that's perfect for this, where the water crashes into the shore. I also add a little bit of this into the distance of the ocean, where some of the waves were. Onto the sand, and I just added all sorts of fabric and lace and some more fibers. Now I still have that paper on the back side of this, but I do remove that before I stitch these down. And I'm going to be stitching these down using just a clear thread. I'm going to be adding this piece to canvas. This is a really sturdy canvas, and so that is going to be the background of my piece. I'm going to double it, and I'm going to just put a casing on the top and put a stick through that. And this is just a raw edge. I really like the raw edges showing, and I'm just going to meander stitch over all this fiber. I'm done with the initial stitching, but I wanted to add, this is like a raffia. It looks like straw. And I thought it'd be fun to add this in the sand part as well. And just going to be using a piece of netting or tulle to cover that so that it stays into place. I'm just going to be stitching that tulle down. This forms a pocket. You could even put little shells in there if you went to the beach and you want to add something like that. Maybe even a little bag of some sand would be fun in there too, just as a remembrance of a special day. I'm at my sewing machine with black thread, and I'm going to be outlining some of the things with my black thread and covering up some of those printer marks. Putting the horizon in first. When you see my thumb go up, I'm cutting my thread. I have an automatic thread cutter on this sewing machine. And now I'm outlining those pieces that I put on, those applique pieces. And I'm not exact on this. See, these pieces are really little and piddly, but I just want to get them down, and once everything is done, you don't even notice if you get off. And just have her little hat to go. Now I'm just going to add some different stitches in the ocean, and I do add some more down below too. I put some birds on, and then I did some decorative stitches and also some zigzag stitches. Just thought it really added some more texture. And then I outlined the whole thing and attached it to this canvas, and then put the little casing on the top too. So you can stick a stick in there, a dowel, or even a stick in the yard I think would be really fun. I did put some extra marks on this just to give it some a more pronounced look in certain areas. And I'm using my favorite pen for this. I'm going to put it down below. It's the Uniball pen. And I love this pen because it really glides really nice on fabric. And it is waterproof, and it really has a fine line to it. Much more of a fine line than as a fabric marker. That's why I really like using this. And you can also, it seems like just go really well over paint. It works, it's just one of my favorites. Just adding some more of the detail that I wasn't able to get with the stitching. And really going to work on this little girl here as well. And making her a little bit more pronounced, and just going right over the top of those printer marks. I took out my fabric markers again and adding a little bit more color to the sled. And this is it. Thank you so much everyone who's joined me. I did add some extra pictures on the end here so you can see. This, like I said, was a little bit different, but I hope you enjoyed it. It really opens up some possibilities. Have a great creative week. Bye for now.